I consider my newfound love for reading the best gift I've ever given myself. For this hobby has given me so much more than just knowledge. It has also allowed me to see the world in someone else's eyes. Since November is my birth month, I thought of featuring a book that I consider a gift to every reader because it teaches compassion, empathy, and the importance of understanding others. Lessons that I believe will always resonate with readers of all ages. For my ninth book review, I chose to feature Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. This timeless masterpiece is considered a must read because, despite being written decades ago, its message still remains relevant up to this day. Ano-ano bang mga isyu na nabanggit sa librong ito na ang patuloy nating nararanasan sa kasalukuyan? At ano ba ang nagiging epekto ng mga isyong ito sa ating lipunan? Once again, I'm Tessa Saavedra and welcome back to Ang Sarap Pala Magbasa. So as usual, if you haven't already, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you'd always be updated on my latest book reviews. And if you're listening over at Spotify, please follow my show, Ang Sarap Pala Magbasa, and help me build a community of bookworms. As mentioned, November is my birth month. Yes, my birthday is on November 28th. So for today's episode, I thought of featuring a book that I consider the best gift I've ever given myself. So I first heard about this book from former Vice President Leni Robredo. I think she mentioned in an interview that To Kill a Mockingbird is actually her favorite book. At dahil nga nagsisimula pa lang ako maging bookworm at that time I saw this interview, syempre na-curious ako, so I looked it up and I eventually bought it to add to my growing collection of books. So to start the show, let's tell something about the author. Harper Lee, or Nell Harper Lee, was born on April 28, 1926 in Monroeville, Alabama. She is the daughter of Frances Cunningham Finch and Anasa Coleman Lee. Her mother was a homemaker, while her father was a lawyer and member of the Alabama State Legislature and co-owner of a local newspaper. Lee was actually the youngest of 4 children, and she grew up as a tomboy in a small town. She first developed an interest in English literature as a teenager while attending Monroe Country High School, where she graduated in 1944. That fall, she enrolled in the all-female Huntington College in Montgomery, Alabama. There, Lee focused on her studies and writing and became a member of both the Literary Honor Society and the Glee Club. So To Kill a Mockingbird was actually Lee's debut novel, and it was published in July 1960. It was immediately picked up by the Book of the Month Club and the Literary Guild. So next up, punta na tayo sa synopsis. The novel was loosely based on Lee and her family's southern upbringing. It follows a young girl named Jean Louise Scout Finch as her attorney father, Atticus Finch, defends a black man falsely accused of rape in 1930s Macomb, Alabama, and tries to get a fair trial and prevent him from being lynched by angry white people in their small town. So the work's central character, Scout, was not unlike Lee in her youth. So our writers kasi would most of the time base yung mga main characters ng mga story nila sa sarili nila. Diba? Kasi they want something they could relate to, and I guess mas nadadalian siguro silang buuin yung pagkatao ng isang character kapag binibase nila sa sarili nila para in a way very relatable for them. In one of the book's major plot lines, Scout and her brother Jem and their friend Dill explore their fascination with a mysterious and somewhat infamous neighborhood character named Boo Radley. Told from Scout's perspective, the novel reflects blatant racism in the Deep South and tackles themes of injustice and loss of innocence. Through Scout's eyes, readers see how deeply racism affects their community and how courage can stand against it. The novel is a timeless tale about growing up and understanding the true meaning of empathy, and moral integrity. So for the trivia, ano mang ibig sabihin ng Southern upbringing? So this refers to the traditional values, manners, customs, and the lifestyle associated with growing up in the Southern United States. It's not just about geography, but it's also about cultural identity shaped by history, religion, family, and community. In a way, Southern upbringing is similar to Filipino upbringing in such a way that it gives emphasis to family, yung pagrespeto sa nakakatanda, pagiging magalang, pagkakaroon ng good manners, at yung pagiging makajos. So, ang word of the day natin ay racism. So, according to the New Oxford American Dictionary, it's about prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular race or ethnic group. Typically, one that is minority or marginalized. Another meaning, the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. So, racism is obviously something na hindi tayo masyadong pamilyar, di ba? Pero, do you think that Filipinos are racist? Comment down below. So, to answer your question, unfortunately, yes. But unlike other countries, we don't deprive others of their rights. In a way, it's very subtle. It's less about laws or systems that divide races and more about social attitudes, stereotypes, and colorism. Prejudice based on skin tone. So, di ba, pag nakakita tayo ng hindi naman sa tinuturo sa atin, pero ang impression natin minsan kapag sa mga maiitim, ay baka hindi naliligo yan. Or, yung iba, pabiro natin silang tinatawag na nog-nog. Di ba? Pero, hindi natin alam, that's actually a form of racism already. But unlike in other countries, hindi natin dinideprive yung mga maiitim, hindi natin sila nilalayuan, di ba? Parang, wini-welcome pa rin naman natin sila sa ating komunidad. Diba? We're very equal when it comes to allowing people from other race to come work in our companies. Diba po? In other countries kasi, very mas distinct or mas talamak yung kanilang racism katulad ng, lalong-lalo na sa South Africa. In the United States, it's actually even more dangerous kasi they're very in denial about it. Sabi nga ni Trevor Noah, in South Africa, mas aminado sila na meron talagang racism sa kanila.
The biggest difference between racism in America and racism in South Africa is I find that South African racism is and was a lot more blatant, and so there's more of an acknowledgement of it as an idea. And I always say to people, I know it's strange to say this, but I often think that was the greatest gift the apartheid government gave us, is that it was there, it was happening to you, it wasn't hidden. Do you know what I mean? So you were just like, we don't want this. People would fight, stop this apartheid, it's racism. And then the government would be like, yes, of course it is racism. That's what we're doing to you. The blacks must not do this. But then what happened in America is, you hit that period where they started changing things. I don't know if it was around Nixon, and they were like, oh, we've got to be silent about this. And then it wasn't blatant anymore. And so I always thought that's a terrible thing to do to people, because now people have to be like detectives of their own racism. They have to figure it out. You know what I mean? So let me give you an example. In South Africa, the government would just say, blacks cannot live in these areas. You're black, you don't live here. Now you know I'm black, I don't live here. I don't like it, but I don't live here. You get what I'm saying? But then in America, you'd be like, can I get a home loan? And they'd be like, no. And you'd be like, why? And they'd be like, they'd be like, why can't I? And then you just start realizing, you're like, wow, how come the black people all seem to only be able to get houses in these areas, but not in these areas? And these school districts are better. How come the money is going here? How come? And you get what I'm saying? And I know it sounds strange to say, but I think there's something liberating about fighting an obvious enemy as opposed to one that you have to prove exists. That's probably the biggest difference.
So yun ang difference ng racism sa US versus South Africa. So obviously kasi Trevor Noah is from South Africa and he's working as a host in the United States. So he was able to compare yung difference ng racism sa South Africa at sa United States. So in the Philippines, it can be seen through colorism and prejudice towards certain groups. That's why it's important to speak up, show empathy, and treat everyone with fairness and respect. So what do you guys think? Did this book make you realize your own racist tendencies towards other religions or sa ibang lahi? Comment down below. So let's move to our favorite character, or my favorite character. While I understand the reader's fascination with Atticus Finch, the lawyer who defended Tom Robinson, the character falsely accused of rape dahil sa paninindigan niya kung anong tama. The character that I resonated with was Scout. Scout reminded me of myself when I was young, curious and adventurous, and like her, I already had a strong sense of what is right and wrong. Curious ako in such a way na kapag meron akong kaklase na kakaiba, or in a way, siguro yung mga, minsan kasi may mga nagiging kaklase ako na Koreano kasi may mga foreign exchange student kami. Nakikurious ako sa kanila. Pero, just like Scout as well, pag may nakikita ako na hindi magandang ginagawa ng kaklase ko, either sasabihan ko siya or isusumbong ko siya. Ganun ako. At siya, hindi ko na rin siya itatry na pakisamahan kapag nakakitaan ko siya ng masama yung ugali niya. What I liked about To Kill a Mockingbird is how it taught me powerful lessons about empathy, kindness, and courage through such a simple yet meaningful story. I admired how Atticus Finch stood firm in his principles and how Scout learned to see the world with understanding instead of judgment. So even though the story is set in a different time, its message still feels relevant today. As someone who was just beginning to love reading, this book made me realize how stories can open our eyes and touch our hearts in the most unexpected ways. One of the reasons siguro why I decided to feature this book was that in a way kasi it's very relevant to what is happening in our current events now. Kasi nga, di ba, nagkakalaglagan na po yung mga politicians and even mga contractors na involved sa flood control projects natin. Yung mga binulsa na buwis or binulsa na pera na dapat sanang nakatuon lang sa mga flood control projects natin, binulsa lang pala at kung saan-saan ginastos ng mga nepo babies nila. So, pinambili ng mga bag, Rolls Royce na may payong, so nakakasama ng loob. And sa ganitong panahon, mahirap nga naman talaga manindigan para sa tama, lalo pat kung alam mo na ikaw lang mag-isa ang naninindigan. At in a way, it's gonna be a threat to your life and your family's life. You have to realize din kasi na, kaya mo yun ginagawa kasi mas mapapabuti naman eventually yung sitwasyon. One must decide to do that para mas papabuti at hindi na mangyari ulit. Kasi nakikita na natin na maraming namamatay, maraming naapektuhan because of what they're doing. And also, this was definitely one of the best books that I've read when I was just starting to venture into becoming a bookworm. And I'm so glad that I stumbled upon this book because of Miss Lenny Robredo, because sobrang oo nga, I agree with her. Talagang marami ka nga talagang magandang aral na kapupulutan dito. And hopefully you guys get to read it if you haven't yet. Okay, so what I didn't like about the book, given nga na nagsisimula pa lang ako maging bookworm, hindi ako talaga sanay na magbasa ng sobrang puro text lang. As in, yung sobrang, you're gonna use your imagination lang talaga while reading this book. And you also have to be disciplined and be very patient. Kasi nga, it moves at a slow pace. Talagang napakabagal lang story niya. Dito ko na-experience yung lumilipad na yung utak ko habang nagbabasa ako. I mean, siguro dapat hindi ko sabihin yun, pero it can happen, lalo na kung nagsisimula ka pa lang na maging mahumaling sa pagbabasa. Oo. Kaya, that's just to let you know. Pero may mga techniques naman that you can do. Pwede ka mag-annotate, pwede kang siguro rest every once in a while, highlight, or you can put sticky notes. So, those were the things that I did para talagang hindi ako mabored while reading this book. Pero as you go along naman, as mentioned, talagang makikita mo maganda yung magiging takbo ng story niya talaga. Also, if you're not used to words na old-fashioned, o words na hindi mo usually na-encounter sa pagbabasa ng mga novel, like twas, cause, yonder, haint, fixin' to, reckon, ain't.
What?
Ano daw? papaganon ka talaga eh. Oo. But just to let you know, twas, cause, actually, are contractions for it was, them, and because. For yonder, ang ibig sabihin nun ay over there. Hain't, akala ko ang ibig sabihin nun ain't, pero hindi pala. Ang ibig sabihin pala nun, ghost or spirit. Fixin' to, about to do something. Reckon, suppose, or think. Ain't, informal for isn't, aren't, and not. So, pwede nyo siguro gamitin yung mga bagong words na yon as part of your vocabulary. Mga bagong baon kayo ngayon. So, others found the story's focus limited since it's told from a white child's perspective. Leaving characters like Tom Robinson less explored. So, the heavy themes of racism and injustice can also feel uncomfortable or upsetting to read about. For me talaga, hindi ako makapaniwala na meron gantong nangyayari. So still many agree that these difficult parts are what made the story powerful and thought-provoking. In a way, it made us aware of the issues that we're not experiencing on a day-to-day basis dito sa Pilipinas. Wala naman talagang blatant racism dito eh, in a way. Meron, pero hindi katulad dun sa ibang bansa. And if you come across this kind of storyline, parang wow, hindi ka talaga makapaniwala na malulungkot ka talaga. So ano bang nagiging apekto ng racism in today's society? So, in a way, racism still affects today's society by causing inequality, discrimination, and division among people. It can limit opportunities and make others feel unwelcome or judged because of their skin color or background. Quick story time lang. I've been working at a call center for many years already, and meron ako naging office mate na katulad ko rin na registered nurse, and try na niyang magtrabaho sa ibang bansa, in the UK, more specific. Nung kinuwento niya sa akin yung experience niya with racism, doon ko talaga na-realize, wow, totoo pala yun. So, ang kwento niya is that he was working for a hospital who takes care of the elderly. Maya't maya may na-encounter siya na racist na patient noon. Yung talagang ang baba ng tingin sa mga Asyano. And, syempre, they have no choice but to still take good care of this patient. Pero, grabe yung bibigyan mo ng gamot, kailangan gagamitan mo pa ng forceps. Ayaw nilang abutin yung gamot mula sa kamay mo. Gusto nila i-forceps mo. Kasi, yung parang madumi daw yung tingin sa kanila. So, given nga na patient ngayon and we have to make sure that we take care of them without, hindi mo na i-stressan lalo yung patient. Siyempre, ibibigay mo na lang yung gusto nila. Kung ibibigay mo na lang yung gamot kung sa paanong paraan na gusto nila na mas komportable sila. So, ang hirap, no? Yung, pag ganun ang mindset talaga ng tao, parang ang hirap ng baguhin talaga eh. Kasi, rooted yun since childhood nila. Racism kasi is a result of ignorance eh. Kapag hindi nila masyadong kilala yung mga taga-ibang lahi, magkakaroon yun ng fear or they wouldn't want to be handled or taken care of in such a way na katulad ng mga mapuputi. Diba? Pag Asyano, ayaw nilang magpahawak, ayaw nilang kausap. At mababa talaga tingin nila sa'yo. So, paano pa natin babaguhin yung mindset nila kung simula bata pa lang ganun na yung tinuturo sa kanila or hindi sila naturuan na masyado? Hindi sila naging open sa nakilalanin yung mga taga-ibang lahi. So that was the first time I ever encountered racism story from a Filipino. Akala ko dati mga maiitim lang yung nakakaranas ng racism, yung pala kahit mga Asyano. So talagang hindi ako makapaniwala. Pero namulat naman ako dun sa ganung klaseng reality na may ganun pala talaga nangyayari. So next, my favorite quote, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view. Until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. So that was from Atticus Finch. This quote beautifully captures the novel's message of empathy and understanding of others. Oftentimes, we are quick to judge people based on how they dress or talk. We don't make an effort to understand others by seeing the world through their own perspective. So I will rate the book 5 stars. For me, it's definitely worth the read because as someone who hasn't experienced racism, To Kill a Mockingbird opened my eyes to the painful reality of prejudice and injustice. Through Scout's innocent point of view, I was able to understand how unfair the world can be and how important it is to stand up for what is right. I admire the way the story teaches compassion and reminds readers to look at life from another person's perspective. Even though I couldn't personally relate to the experiences of the characters, this book made me more aware, empathetic, and grateful for the lessons it shared. The book retails for 429 pesos, definitely worth the money. I bought it from Fully Booked via online shopping, but you can also find it in your nearest bookstores. So final thoughts? Ang sarap pala magbasa dahil ang mga kwento ay nagiging isang paraan para makita natin ang mundo sa mata ng iba at natututo tayong hindi maging mapanghusga. Ang sarap pala magbasa dahil binubuksan nito ang ating isipan sa ilang mga problemang nararanasan sa ibang bansa na maaari hindi natin alam. Ang sarap pala magbasa dahil sa pamamagitan ng nobelang ito, nalaman natin na ang pagtindig sa tama ay nangangailangan ng lakas ng loob. Sapagkat ang katahimikan sa harap ng maling gawain ay nagpapahintulot lamang na magpatuloy ang kawalan ng katarungan. So, di ba nga, kaya nga, lumala ng lumala yung korupsyon dito sa Pilipinas ay dahil nanahimik na lamang tayo sa maling ginagawa ng mga opisyal. At patuloy pa nating binuboto yung mga politiko na alam naman natin na may kaso, na may maling ginagawa. Diba? In a way kasi that's us being silent eh. Yung pagboto natin is our way of voicing out our opinions about kung sinong leader ang gusto nating mamumuno sa ating bansa. So if we're being silent or pinapabayaan natin silang tumakbo at manalo, what do we expect? Diba? Talagang patuloy na lalaganap lang yung korupsyon sa ating bansa because of that. And that concludes today's episode. Again, if you haven't already, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you won't miss out on my latest book review. And if you're listening over at Spotify, please follow my show and together, let's build a community of bookworms. Once again, this is Ang Sarap Pala Magbasa with your host, Tessa Saavedra. Wherever around the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for listening.